Hello, 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 and welcome back, you guys, to AG University podcast. We are back, classes in session. Tune in, tap in, let's take notes. I have a lot to say today. I've been taking notes sort of all day long. When I was on the treadmill this morning, I was like writing down notes and I was doing all my little chores. It's actually a Sunday today, which I keep saying, and I'm like, I usually don't record on Sundays, but for some reason this season, I keep recording on Sundays. I feel like I just have the most space on Sundays to process and go about my day a little bit slower than my typical Monday through Friday work day, school day, all the things. So hi, if you're here, my name is Anna Grace Newell. I am the lead dancing unicorn. That is our mascot here at AG University. And this is a school of intuition, a school from the cosmos. And we're just here to ground ourselves in our own energy. And that's one thing that I'm going to be teaching today. So I'm going to give away a couple of free tools for you guys to call back your power to yourself, because I feel like this season that we're stepping into, it's all about coming back into your own energy field. There is so much going on in the world. It's an election year, week, month. I don't know exactly when this podcast comes out, but we're still in early voting as I'm recording. But with that being said, it is very easy for your energy to get pulled into so many different directions. And it is very easy for us to distract ourselves from what's going on in the world by whatever way we choose to numb ourselves, whether it's scrolling or avoiding or drinking or eating, whatever it is. Listen, I've done all those things. Okay. I have been there. And I just want you to know that you can always call back your power and come back into your own. So we're going to be going over that today. And you know what it's like when you've been surrounded by so many people and you feel like, oh, I'm feeling a little drained or my social battery needs a little love. And then when you have a day where you're just able to do whatever you want to do, light a candle, take a bath, get cozy, and that feeling of just like, relief. That is coming back into your own energy. Your own energy is going to nourish you and fuel you, and your body always knows what to do. So that's the season that I have found myself in as well, is coming back into my own energy. And that really is just separating yourself from allowing your mind to be so preoccupied with work, with responsibilities, with other people in your life that you need to take care of, with all of these things. It's not that we stop doing them, because I'm here to tell you guys I'm also trying to do it all. I'm running a business. I'm running this family. I'm running a household. You know what I mean? Like we have a lot of things. I'm never going to say we have to put it all down and meditate all day. It's just not the reality of the situation. But we can always create moments where we come back into our own energy and we sort of like clear our eyes off, and we're like, I don't know what that sound effect was, but you know what I mean, when you're rubbing your eyes and you're like, okay, let's look through a set of fresh eyes. I'm going to tell you guys how I came to this conclusion, but I also feel that is a collective message too, is coming back into your own energy field. And even when I say that, there is probably something in your life that you know you're giving a lot of energy to right now that you're like, is that serving me? Is this, whatever I'm pouring my energy into right now, is that a reciprocated situation? Is whoever, whatever, this energy dump for me pouring into me or feeding me in any way? And just ask yourself that. Maybe a good little journal prompt, because it's very easy for us to overexert or exhaust ourselves when we don't have to. So how this has been showing up for me, and I always love to use me as our example, because I'll just absolutely slice and dice my life open for you guys so that maybe you can learn from my mistakes and hopefully I can expedite your process. But I feel this whole season, either I would get on the mic and my nose would be stuffy, or I'd have a little bit of a cold, or I had COVID, or I had this. And I'm like, shoot, I'm typically someone who gets sick once every 6 to 8 months, maybe twice a year. I get it. I get those antibodies built up in the body, and I'm rocking and rolling. I don't know if it's because I've recently become an auntie to 2 little nieces. They're always bringing something home from daycare. That's happening a lot. My sister's kids. Also, Zane going back to school, bringing home back to school germs. That always hits. I don't know what it is exactly, but I do know for me that I am typically my immune system is strong enough and I'm taking good enough care of myself to handle all of it. But I just kept bobbling and I just kept having so much stuff coming up. I felt like I was in like that fruit ninja game where like all the fruit's coming at you and you're just like pop, 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 like constantly slicing it, trying to catch things as they're coming at you. Like, no, get out of here. That's how it is. Leading up to the wedding, I had so many other major life events and then even some major life events right after the wedding as well. And as soon as I got home from my last trip, which was last Sunday, I told Austin, I said, I'm going to lay in bed all day today or all day on Monday. I told him, I was like, I just started my period. I am finally free of all the responsibilities of hosting a wedding, doing all of these big things, which was amazing and epic and iconic, but it's a huge energy expenditure. It's just a major life event. And I was also having a lot of work on my Anna Grace Newell main Instagram page as well. I'm signed with a management and an agency and I have representation there. And I had a lot of responsibility leading up to the wedding, around the wedding, after the wedding. And I finally had like 3 days where I didn't have these massive requests coming through. And I told Austin, I said, I just started my period. Tomorrow's Monday. I am laying in bed all day long. Do not look at me. Do not judge me. Do not ask, are you going to get out of bed today? No questions. Look the other way. Not that he ever cares, but he's like, babe, you do you. Because I had just landed from a flight that morning. While I was in Nashville, I stayed with some of my darling, darling friends who their little boy woke up in the middle of the night throwing up as soon as I got there. And we thought maybe he had eaten something bad. Anyways, plot twist, he did not eat something bad. We all ended up with a absolutely hellacious stomach bug. It hit me Monday morning. I genuinely told Austin, I don't know if I've ever been that sick in my life. Things were coming out of every angle of my body. I'm not even going to get graphic on this podcast because nobody wants to hear it. We've all been there. Use your imagination and then times it by 10. And I'm also on my period. I'm like literally my whole entire body is like, bye. My immune system said, gotta go. It was like, I knew that a bottom was coming because I had been on all these highs. Like I'd been in Italy and up and here and work and this and running and da da da. And I knew it was coming. That's why I was like, I'm gonna lay in bed. But my body, it was too late. She said, we're going to go ahead and just purge every crevasse, every crumb, every cell in your body. It's about to exit. I got so sick. My hands were, after Monday, I'd thrown up and all kinds of stuff for like 8 hours. I was writhing around on the floor. I've never taken Zofran before because y'all know when I can, I am mostly a holistic girly, but I'm an 80-20 girly. And when I'm barfing my brains out and you hand me Zofran, I'm going to take it. I'm going to gobble it, swallow it, give it to me, baby. I never taken Zofran before though. And I have never been like that painfully nauseous, that point where you're like, I don't want to throw up because it hurts. Like, please, my body, I can't. There's nothing left. If I take a sip of water, it comes back up. So I tell Austin, I'm like, I think I needed to go to the doctor. And he's like, okay, well, let's get you to an IV. And they do Zofran injections at the IV place. I've been there once before. And I was like, okay, so we get there. On the way there, I was rapidly declining. My hands were clamped shut. I couldn't open them because I was so dehydrated. My legs started like my whole body. I told Austin I was going into rigor mortis. I was like, is this rigor mortis? I'm dying. I actually think you should just drop me off at the hospital. I kept going, I think you should just take me to the hospital. Catch me never just trying to casually go to the hospital. And he's like, by the time we get through waiting and all of the hoops and yo-yos, the hospital was very far away. He's like, let's just get fluids in you right now. And then if you still want to go, I'll take you. But he's like, this is a stomach bug. But you know, when you're like, I'm so sick, you don't understand how bad I feel. So anyways, he takes me there. I get fluids. For the next 2 days, I pretty much sit in total darkness. Can't look at my phone, can't watch TV. It made me motion sickness, couldn't read my book. My head was splitting open. All I could do was lay in bed, close my eyes, and like focus on my breath and tell my muscles to relax. That was all I could do. And I really, really, really went inward. Feel like it was a forced 36-hour meditation, which again, symbolic. I had been giving away all of my energy over these last few months to all these different projects and people and places and things. And the universe is like, you won't just sit still with your eyes closed. So now you are. And I really was able to, one, with the help of a lot of Zofran, I was able to get, I really actually was very uncomfortable. And I cried to Austin day 3. I was like, am I ever going to get better? He's like, yes. But I was able to, as comfortably as I could, with my eyes shut, go within, close my eyes, try to meditate. I just kept connecting with my higher self, being like, what am I to learn from this? What am I missing? Because at the core, anytime we get sick, it's our body communicating information to us. Yes, of course, I was exposed to a virus, a stomach bug, but Austin was. I was kissing all over him as soon as I was home. So happy to see my husband. Mwah, mwah, mwah. He didn't get it, like his body was obviously in a place a little bit stronger, and that bug is super duper contagious. So I'm not saying, of course, yes, it makes sense that I got the stomach bug because I was just right at the root of it, but Austin didn't get it, and that man does have an incredible immune system. But for me, I was like, okay, what is going on? Because I've never had so many back-to-back little colds or little sicknesses or little stomach bug or this was full-blown norovirus. Don't wish upon anyone. But I was like, what am I not seeing here? And truly, I was able to just look very non-judgmentally and do an audit over the past month and be like, okay, here is all of these different places where I maybe didn't actually have to fly back to Memphis to do this to help with the wedding, or fly here to go this, or fly that. I had been on, I think I counted 12 planes over the span of 3 weeks, which is, again, just, it's a lot on the body, the immune system, a lot of movement. I was like, here's the thing, Anna Grace, you're doing too many things you don't have to do. Put it down. And that's a reoccurring theme for me. Like, I'll get really good at slowing down, and then life will get hectic, and I'll catch myself in these places of being like, everybody take a breath. Allow your stomach muscles to relax. Let's take a beat. And I went into the Akashic Records once. I really did not have the strength or the wits about me to do any clear channeling or energy work. I was doing Reiki on myself. I was imagining white light flooding my body. I was imagining my cells turning over. And I do think that helped me get better faster. Maybe like cut a 5-day situation into like a 4-day situation. I don't know. But I was doing all the things, just mentally being like, I am healthy. I am well. But the one image that I did get that I wanted to share with you guys, I went into the Akashic Records, and this was day 3 where I was crying to Austin because I felt so bad. And he finally was like, you need to get out of this dark room. You have to eat something. You have to drink something. When you're just so nauseous, you're like, get it away from my mouth hole. I will punch you if you try to put anything near me. That was pretty much where I was at. He's like, we've got to get some natural elements. And Austin is such a naturally intuitive king. We love him. He put my beanbag out on the balcony, sat me on the beanbag, and I just let the wind and the breeze kissed my face, and I just stared at the water turning over for, I'm not kidding you guys, for 3 hours. I held my head because my head was splitting. I just like I wrapped my robe around my head, like the robe tie. I was trying to get like some pressure going, and I just stared. It was all I could do was stare. And in that stare, I was like, I'm just going to mentally say the Akashic Records prayer and just see what I can get going. And I will say that was when things started turning around. And that's just a reminder for you. If you were in a slump or a funk, or you're just feeling like absolute booty tang, get outside, get the breeze in your hair, get some sunshine on your face, allow yourself to just stare at a few blades of grass. It really does work. I know I've said it on here, but it does work. I felt like I started turning around. My fever was breaking. I was like, okay, maybe I just need a little nature. I obviously needed a forced phone detox because that wasn't even in the question. But I opened the Akashic Records, and this is one of the messages that I received. And this may land for you and it may not. And as always, take it like a grain of salt. You won't hurt my feelings. But I saw this, I don't even know it was kind of like a video game vibe. And the message was like, the game resets every day. This game of life that we're playing, right? It's all a game. It's all an illusion. It's all just the experience that we're having in this moment, right? This avatar that I am Anna Grace, but my soul is so much more than just Anna Grace, right? And they're like, the game restarts every day. Every day. And the messaging behind this was every day is a new day. Every single day, you have the opportunity to lug all of your bullshit into the new day. You dredge it up because you're addicted to the story. You're addicted to complaining about your ex-boyfriend who won't leave you alone, or your mother-in-law or who is mean to you, or your sister who's on your nerves, or whatever. I don't know. These situations are made up. Whatever the apply your own thing. Every day you have the option to bring that in with you, or you could start fresh with a clean slate. And I really feel like it was such a good reminder for me. Even like every day I woke up being like, oh, I feel so terrible, and I'm this and I'm that, and I'm blah 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 blah. And I was like, Anna Grace, release it. Release it. And that was like everything. My body was literally releasing everything. You are being called right now in this moment to release a story from your existence. There is something that every single day you wake up and you choose to tell yourself this, and you're tired of it. And here's the thing, we're all tired of it. The universe is tired of it. Your angels are tired of it. Everybody's tired of it. We're tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of my own bullshit sometimes because I'm like, why do I continue to yeah, it's and I'm talking about like the petty little dumb stuff that we get stuck in these cycles of complaining about something in our life that we ultimately can change. We can. We are the screenwriter and we're also the lead actor of this movie. So flip the script. And every day is a new day. The game resets every single day. And that was what I was seeing in this rigor mortis vomiting breakdown, was that every day is a new day, and we choose to bring all the luggage of the past or the worries of the future into that moment, and absolutely nothing else exists outside of that moment. And I saw something on Instagram the other day that was talking about how much when we are in fear or anxiety, all we are focusing on in those moments is ourself in a really negative light. And it takes us out of the ability to see others through the lens of kindness or compassion. So it's just a reminder for you in these times of division, of everything that's happening in the world. I know that it is so easy to see people through a lens of frustration. How could they think about that? How could they vote for that person? How could they do that? How could they and listen, I hear you. It's fucking crazy. It's just crazy out there. But this isn't a political podcast, and I don't ever get political on here because I'm here to give you tools to regulate your nervous system. That's always my role. But the more that we get caught in these thought loops, it's because we're most people who are acting up and saying out of pocket stuff, it's coming from a place of fear because there is a lot of uncertainty, and people, times are changing, the tides are changing, there's a lot of problems coming to the surface, and people are scared. And so you've got to remind yourself of that. People are uncomfortable, they have anxiety, they are acting out of fear. And your job, my best advice for you, is to always try to find your way back to a place of neutrality and come back and say, I'm going to step back from these conversations. I'm going to check in with myself. I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to recognize that person is coming from some past fearful state, or they are worked up right now, and I don't have to join them. I can still make positive impacts in this world and changes and whatever my purpose is, whatever I feel called to, but I'm going to come back to a place of neutrality. And when you can do that, you're taking yourself out of that fear-based lens, which ultimately really takes us out of that super self-focused lens, because at the core, when we are in those fear-based states, we're trying to console ourselves, but you see how we get in this cycle of it really is like all self-consuming, and we're ultimately here to try to get back to seeing ourselves as one, right? As equal, as we are all energetically connected. That's the law of one, which is what I have always believed. We are one. We come from the same creator. We just are. We are God. We are one. We have God particles, beings. I, I don't even know how to accurately put it into words besides we are one. That's just what I subscribe to, is that we are all here to find our way back to that place. And there are so many obstacles and hurdles, just like a video game. We're at a level right now, and you can level up or you can get caught in the conversations or the fighting that's going on right now. And this was a really good piece of advice that I received a while ago when people were asking me about spiritual gifts and mediumship and all the things. And, for people who don't believe in it, what do you say? And I'm always telling people that you're never here to convince someone. You're just giving your power away. And you know the difference of when someone comes to you. And I'm talking about this right now for all aspects of your life. That's why I say don't get caught in these petty arguments with people in your life that you're just giving your power away, because they're not even going to hear what you have to say. So you might as well just say, oh, interesting, neat. Okay, keep walking. um, you are giving your power away when you feel the need to convince someone of something that you believe, because ultimately their belief system, their hardwiring, it's just different than yours. And unless they come to you genuinely wanting to learn, genuinely curious, with an intention of love, absolutely. If they're asking you questions and you feel called to share, sure. It's when we get caught in these how could you think that, how could you blah 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 moments where we're just convincing and we're spewing and we're like word vomiting all over people. We are expending a lot of energy doing that for someone who may absolutely have their ears plugged and they're not even listening to you. That's where it's like when you're convincing, it is an act of giving our power away. Same with like oversharing. You don't have to tell people every single one of your thoughts, beliefs, especially when it comes to politics. I'm just here to tell you that you don't have to tell everyone. It's not always their business. So I'm just in the game right now of helping you protect your peace. And one of my favorite, he's a psychic medium in Nashville. His name is Frank. He posted Instagram stories or it was an Instagram reel of how he finds his way back to neutrality. And whenever he gets really frustrated with certain presidential candidates' comments or behaviors or just people in politics in general, he's like, I always try to remember that all of these people have a birthday, and I imagine them blowing out candles on a birthday cake, because it's such a universal experience that allows us to bring ourselves back to seeing ourselves as humans, to humanize the situation, and to be able to see ourselves in that person again, right? Through something very like, imagine their grandkids giving them a hug, or someone in their life giving them a pep talk at some point. Imagine them learning how to ride a bike. Like, you really have to put yourself in these situations where you can humanize the person and recognize that everyone has a past, everyone has a purpose, everyone has things they're working on, and try to humanize the situation will bring you back to a place of neutrality, so you're not just running around livid, because you have a purpose and you are here to contribute to society and do something amazing and beautiful. But you can't do it if you're absolutely giving away your power, yapping to anyone who will listen, and you're just an angry person all the time. And it's easy to do, but we're coming back to neutrality. And that's one practice that I want you guys to imagine that I've shared maybe on here a while ago, but we're going to do it again. I have a couple of just energetic tools that I do every single night before I go to bed through visualization. You don't need anything, but that's one thing that I'll like to say. If I've been on social media a ton, because social media is a portal, it kind of drains our little social batteries. And you always know this because if you watch a video, like say you say a sad video and it makes you cry, you just had an emotional exchange via social media. It affected you energetically, right? And there's so much, it makes you feel some type of way, whether it's happy, sad, angry, whatever, dopamine rush. There is an energy exchange happening. So, anyways, whether it's that or whether you've had a heated argument or someone's just driving you crazy at work or whatever, and this is how you know you need to clear your energy, because you keep replaying the argument in your head. You've got to clear their energy from your space. So sometimes I'll like to physically imagine that I'm pulling that person, that conversation, that thought thread out of my head and sending it into the light, transmuting it. You can physically pull it out. You can also, when I get in bed at night, I'll imagine just a white, bright light that's cleansing me. I also do this in the shower. I have a free shower prayer. I'm going to link it in my show notes. It's free. You can also do this in bed, but I imagine there's a white light coming through, cleansing my whole body, going all the way out my toes. And I'll just say something like, I'll create an intention. Like, I call my power back to me through all time and space, from every person, place, thing, social media. cleansed and cleared in light, may it return to me so I can shine ever so bright. Those are just some words I just kind of threw together that I'll just say in my mind. You can say whatever you want to say, but I always like to say, like, cleanse this energy, but I call it back to me. It's mine. I'm not going to give this energy to any outside forces without my permission. So you're no longer allowed to use my energy. I call it back to me and I cleanse it, I clear it. And just saying that mantra while you imagine there's just a white light moving through your body, it's a very simple, very effective tool to call some energy back to you and to disconnect. I'll also say that, like, I cut any cords, I disconnect from any devices or any programs right now that are causing me to feel XYZ. So that's another one that you can say too. I feel like just some verbal call outs. You've got to remember, like, our bodies in a way are quite mechanical. I always think of us like a little iPhone. Like, at the end of the day, you've got to swipe up and clear out all your apps because they're just running, and you got to swipe, 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 and they're just running, 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 running. I do that for myself at night. That's when I say, like, I cut cords from social media. I disconnect from work. I disconnect from all these people. I have a lot of tools that I share. They're always linked in the show notes, but even when I do client sessions, I disconnect from their energy. And like I said, you'll know when you're still feeling someone's energy a little bit because you might be like rehearsing a conversation you had with them or replaying something, and you're just going to physically pull it out of your body. Remember, you're in control and you can move energy. You can cleanse your body. You can reset. You can regulate your nervous system. You have the ability to do all of these things. So don't let anything ever worry you or cause you fear. Fear is an illusion. It's trickery of the mind, and you can always come back to center and find center in a safe, quiet place in your mind. You can. I also learned that in the depths of my extreme nausea, which I know doesn't sound that terrible, but if you know, like pain and nausea, I was able to just literally go so deep inside my mind. I was almost able to, like, slip out of it and turn it off. Because if you think about it, when we take ibuprofen or whatever, that it doesn't really heal the situation. It just sort of like turns off the pain receptors or blocks it. You know what? I'm not a doctor. Google it. I don't know how it works, but like I said, it's not going to miraculously heal the situation, but it is going to make it more comfortable. And I was like, if a pill could do that, I feel like I could also go in with my mind and turn this headache just a little bit down. And just, I got so deep, so quiet, so still in my meditation that it really was able to bring me some peace, that I'm like, I can find a safe, quiet space in my mind. There is a safe, quiet space that exists for you always when you can control absolutely nothing else. There is your intuition, there is your higher self, and there is just the quiet and stillness of your breath. So I hope that can bring you a little bit of peace, and I hope you try some of those tools as well to call back your power and to bring yourself back into center. You can do them as many times as you need throughout the course of the day, at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day. I always do my energetic protection, and that's always linked in the show notes as well. But okay, that was my takeaways from being sick. Oh, well, essentially, I am just sitting the F down. I was doing a lot of extra, extra, extra travel. And whenever I have a lot of work, a lot of things, a lot of travel, my body, as I've gotten older, she's just saying no. I love where your heart's at, Anna Grace, and anybody listening. I love that you want to do all the things, and I love that you think your energy can go that many directions, but sometimes our body just needs a little break. It needs a little rest. And you've got to remember, we are in alignment with nature. We are all one. We are connected to nature. Everything in this entire universe is connected in some way, shape, or form. So we're going into a season that's meant to be a little bit slower. Temperatures are dropping. We're not supposed to be hitting it so hard through the winter time. We're allowed to have a little bit of time to go inward, whether that's mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. We are nature. And so just remember, you can always look to nature and see what's going on in the world. What are the animals doing? Or maybe we have a few weekends where we hibernate a little bit instead of hitting it as hard as we can. I know with the holidays coming up, there's lots going on, but you can still find a few moments to just be a potato. If you want to be a potato, hibernate if you want to hibernate. But also, I mean, go out and live your life. This isn't saying that just because it's wintertime, we all have to go in and we don't leave our houses. But I think it is a reminder that it's okay. Maybe even not a reminder as much of it is permission to look to what's going on in the world and just be like, it's okay. I don't have to do all of these things that I think that I need to do. I love where your heart is at and I love where your head is at, but it's okay. I can rest. So that's just my friendly reminder for where we're at with the seasons. And my last little piece of where I'm at in my life, because, well, essentially I'm like, I know my life is the only thing that I have to narrate on here, but I do hope that it can bring somebody peace and letting you know that I've just absolutely fallen off the wagon on being my healthiest version of me, in the sense of I've had zero consistency in my life lately. Like, I've either been out of town traveling. When I'm home, I'm flying by the seat of my pants getting my work done, or I'm sick as a dog. And that has been the cycle over the last 4 months. And I said, enough. Enough is enough. I see you, universe. I see you, Anna Grace. We're gonna correct the cycles, because I don't like when my body is not healthy and my immune system is down. Like, I just know I need to be taking better care of myself. And let me just tell you what, your girl, she fell off the wagon. I mean, before my wedding, I was just surviving. I was just like, I got to get there to the wedding. I just got to make it to the wedding. We had so many things coming about in every angle of our life, and it wasn't anything bad. It was just, when you're just in a tornado and you're like, we don't even have time to land. We're just going to land when all this is over, and then we'll get our lives together. So I've kind of been having like a get my life together weekend. And I kept trying to get back on course whenever I would have a few days. And so this is for anybody that's listening that maybe you've fallen off your routine a little bit, whatever it is. And I have these kind of 10 things that I keep in my notes along with my daily to-do list. That's like, okay, these are like my optimal habits that I want to keep in my rotation. And finally this morning I woke up and I had some clarity, and I realized, I was like, you know what? It was a very busy season. I'm landing. I'm coming. I'm not going to be traveling as much for the next 2 months. Amazing. I have an opportunity here to to get myself in, right. And one, you see how I just observed that we're not going to be judgmental. We're not going to shame ourselves for falling off in any type of way. I just look back and I'm like, these are the excessive things that maybe I didn't have to do, and I'm going to learn and do better going forward. And I just disconnect from it from there. I'm not going to harbor on the fact that I'm like, where I've been floundering. It's okay. So just remind yourself, it's okay. If you've fallen behind at work, it's okay. It was all meant to be. It was always meant to be. You're going to get back on. We always do. We always will. You can't fall apart. I promise. You will pick yourself up, dust yourself off when you're ready, and get back to it. Because I do believe that discipline and consistency are necessary to get some forward momentum going at times, but I'm never ever going to be super hard or ugly to myself in any way. And it's just not even productive. So, anyways, I realized that I had all these things on my to-do list that I wanted to do. And that's where I recognized that my habits, I actually was asking for too much of myself. Like, I had too many different habit stacks going. I had too many things going. When I recognize that I can't really get going or find any momentum, I'm trying to bite off more than I can chew. So I really would encourage you to pick one habit that you would like to stick with for the month. And for me, the habit that I've stuck with, I try to choose a strong habit lead, is what I call it. I just made that term up, but it's one that I find gets me feeling the best, the fastest, so that I am inspired in other areas of my life. How about that? Like, I feel an immediate shift in my energy versus like, okay, I'm going to meal plan, I'm going to blah, 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 and like create all this work for myself. So what I told myself is I picked the most realistic time of day in the morning for me to work out. And I gave myself a 15-minute grace period, as in I will be at the gym within 15 minutes of this time frame. Because sometimes if I like get so fixated on the time, if I mess up, I'm like, well, shoot, I missed the time window. No, I give myself this time frame. I need to be at the gym, and I literally told myself, if I could even just do 15 minutes a day, whether it's walking on an incline, whether it's dancing, but like a high intensity dance where I'm sweating. Like, this for me was more of a call to, I was feeling a lot of stagnation in my body, a call to cardio in the sense of like getting my heart rate up and sweating. I need some sweat. I need some release in my body. And so I was like, I am going to set a timer for 15 minutes. And I did it today. I did not want to go. I literally drugged myself there. I wasn't even in gym clothes. I was in a t-shirt that I slept in. I was like, I'm here. I'm just going to show up. And I ended up getting in 45 minutes, you know? So sometimes you just got to set the bar at a place that is very, very realistic and manageable. And we've all got to quit biting off more than we can chew, because I feel like we live in a society that's trying, like, a 75 hard. I love that trend for people. It's too many habits for me too fast. And I just really, really, really feel like consistency starts with little nibbles. Little nibbles. I can't take on 10 new habits in a day overnight. I've found the most success, especially as a business owner, especially in the work that I do, is to start a little bit smaller. And maybe that's just a me thing, but if you're someone who feels like you keep starting over and you keep falling off, let's just start a little bit smaller. So I'm breaking it down right now, headed into the holidays and the micro. I'm not going to put all this pressure on myself that I need to eat perfectly every single day and that I need to get 100 glasses of water and blah, 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 blah. I was like, Anna Grace, this is a realistic time frame in the morning every single day, and do at least 15 minutes. That's it. And most days, I'm sure I'll end up doing more than that. Some days it might just be 15 minutes, but all I am doing is I'm reshaping the identity that I am somebody who gets up and moves their body. Because when I move my body, that's so much more than just what used to look like cardio for me. I put that in air quotes because it used to be like some weird form of punishment or body needing to change my body. For me, it's like I need to sweat. I need my cells to move. I need my lymph system to move. I need movement in my body. I get more ideas. I feel better. I always feel more inspired afterwards. I feel clearer. I feel brighter. And that, to me, that's why I said it's a strong habit lead for me, because I feel like it trickles into the rest of my day versus when I'm just sitting, stagnant. There is, if you're looking for forward momentum in your life, you can create forward momentum in your body. Your body is a representation of the external environment as well. So if you can at least pick one strong habit lead that you know will make you feel better. That's why I'm saying, not that it works the fastest, but it makes you feel better faster. We're trying to get ourselves into a place of feeling good always. And so for me, movement is one that I'm like, I am absolutely prioritizing no matter what. And I know when I create this habit, even if I'm traveling, I can still do this. I can still get 15 minutes in. I can do it in my hotel room. I had gotten so out of whack because I'd had all these crazy time changes, time zones, traveling. And here's the thing, at the end of the day, that is an excuse. It's an excuse. I just didn't prioritize it. But it's okay. It is what it is. That's why I created a habit that I'm like, I know I can stick to this no matter where I am, no matter what's going on in my life. So pick one thing, and I'm going to do that for the next 30 days. I encourage you guys, if there's just one little tiny habit, you want to just add just a little niblet. One thing that you're like, I've really been avoiding this, or I really need to do this. And for me, that was 15 minutes of some type of movement to get my heart rate elevated. And then I have to continue to focus on strengthening my shoulder. You guys know I've had a wonky shoulder, but I was like, this is what I used to tell myself. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do 30 minutes at a walking incline. I'm going to do 30 minutes weight training. And then I'm going to do my physical therapy after that. And that would end up taking me about an hour and 15 minutes. And it would actually overwhelm me because some days I was just so busy. I felt like it was too much. And then I didn't want to go at all. And you see how this is a cycle. So I had to step back and say, Anna Grace, 15 minutes on the treadmill, if that's all you can do, and do just your physical therapy strength training. That only takes you 10 minutes. You can do just that. And if some days you have time to do more, amazing. But you've just got to create one foundation that you're like, this is what I'm going to do no matter what. No matter what, this is going to happen. If I want to add on to it, awesome. If I want to do somatic dance for an hour and a half, great. Some days that's absolutely out of the question. And it is like, what's the bare minimum that I can do to still feel good? Because sometimes that's just the reality of life. So that is how I'm getting back on the wagon after falling off the wagon. I picked one tiny habit and I'm going to implement it for the next 30 days. And I will report back to you guys at the end of 30 days and let you know how that is going for me. And I encourage you to try to do the same. And just remember that whatever it is that you're trying to do right now, if you are trying to become a better version of you, just remember that effort is rooted in self-love. That effort is rooted in the intention to better yourself, which means you do love yourself. You are becoming a better person. It is working. Even if you feel it's not linear or you've slid backwards, you are becoming a better version of yourself every single day by just creating a plan, just trying something new, putting yourself out there, even if it's an absolute flop. You are becoming a better person every single day. I know when you tune into this podcast, you have the intention of connecting with your intuition in some way, because this podcast is an intuition activation space. So no matter what, if you just want to become more connected to your intuition, you already are becoming more connected. It takes two to tango, and you're just saying, hey, intuition, I'm making space for you in my life. Boom. Your intuition is going to come through. You do not have to work so hard at some of these things that you want. I just want you to remember that. If you're working overtime right now, take a step back and say, I'm doing enough. I am exactly where I'm meant to be. And everything is always, always, always going to unfold perfectly. Divine timing is so real. And yeah, I love you guys. And I don't want anybody feeling that they need to be doing a million things. And I always say that going into the new year, because I'm someone that believes the new year starts much closer to spring, when we're actually truly coming out of hibernation, versus January 1. We all hit the ground running and we're like losing our minds, because I feel like it's a portal from November to the new year. And I just want everybody to pick a couple of small, realistic habits that we can stick with, that we can carry through, make it a lifestyle. Because if you try to do too many, like if you're like, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and work out, that's too many. That's already a lot of habits. If you're not waking up at 6 a.m., that's a new habit. And then you're going to work out on top of it. Those are, you see how that becomes like multiple habits. Just pick the closest. How about that? The closest one. And then you can add on, then you can stack, and then you'll get there. For me, getting to where I am at life, I feel like people ask me all the time. It was such a gradual shedding for me to slowly get to where I am today. Like, I don't think in Nashville I could have just up in all these new healthy habits that I have, like drinking less, not drinking at all, um, not going out like I was, meditating every day. Like, you see how that was like a progression to get there? It couldn't have just happened all in one swoop. So just a reminder for you to be kind for wherever you're at and meet yourself there, because sometimes it just takes the path of least resistance. I know people love to preach discipline, and I agree, but sometimes I feel we make it way too hard for ourselves, and I'm guilty of that too. I had like 10 habits that I was constantly trying to accomplish every single day, and I wasn't sticking to anything, and I said, wait a minute. Okay, that's too many. And that's all. That was the lesson for me. I said, that's too many things. I can't do it all right now. I really want to, and I really appreciate you, Anna Grace, for wanting to do those things. And I'm not a failure for not being able to do them. It's okay. You're not a failure. No one is. It's just a learning lesson. It's always a moment for you to check in and recalibrate with yourself and just observe it as data. The moment we can come to a place of neutrality and see everything as data, we are winning at life, because we are relaxing into the moment, and we're not going to be emotionally charged or ugly to ourselves for whatever situation we found ourselves in. It's information. Next time something happens, you're like, it's just data. Just meant to learn from it. It's all good. Okay, guys, I think that's everything for today. This was kind of just a pep talk, and I hope to bring us all into a place of realignment. It's crazy out there, but we are dancing unicorns, and we're magical, and you're magical, and I love you, and thank you for coming to class, and I'll see you guys next week. Mwah. As always, I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. If you feel so called, or if it feels aligned, I would love for you to leave me a review here. I always love reading your beautiful thoughts and messages. And also, you can find me at Anna Grace Newell on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I will link all of my courses, AG University course curriculum, in the show notes, along with, if you're interested in booking an Akashic Records reading with me, my scheduling link goes out in my newsletter. It goes out once a month, and it's completely free. I would love to have you there. As always, I'm a proud professor, and you get an A+ for making it all the way through the end. Love you.